and I personally would like to welcome you all to this webinar where, as the topic says, we are going to talk about your strategies and preparations for campus placement, keeping the current scenario in mind. As Manish said, I am currently associated for the last 9 years with Graphicera Hill University, Dehradun, as a part of the personality development and training team. Um, to be very honest, till 2011, before we actually came to the city of Dehradun, I was training students for various competitive exams like CAT, the XLRA admission test, GRE, GMAT, bank PO, clerical. That was my domain. Campus placement, training students was for campus placement was a part, but it was not a very important or a very big part of the total pie. But having come to Dehradun in the year 2011, I got this opportunity with Graphicera Hill University, and that is where I started to get into campus placements on a very serious note. So I would like to begin by thanking my employers, Graphicera Hill University, for the opportunity that has been provided to me, and especially the guidance and the vision of the senior management that has always helped us. I am also thankful to Wiley because it is because of Wiley that I got this opportunity to put forth my views, put things together in the form of a book, which was published in the year 2015. And I got this opportunity to share my thoughts with students and friends alike. So thank you so much to Wiley for the opportunity. Thank you so much once again for this webinar, putting together this webinar and giving a platform to share my point of view and opinion with students. So if you permit, I'm going to share my screen, and there's a PPT which I would like to take you through. Okay, so Manish, if you can quickly confirm whether the presentation is visible and
yes,
I'm
sir,
clearly audible.
Yes, sir, you are clearly audible and presentation is available.
All right, great. So students, friends, my colleagues, training and placement officers, teachers, I welcome you once again. As the topic of the webinar says, unleash your potential, preparation and strategies for acing campus placement in the current scenario. Let me share with you, we'll be talking for maybe around 35 to 40 minutes. But before I begin, to be very honest to all of you, the preparation and strategies for campus placements are not going to change, to be very honest. What is going to change is maybe the number of opportunities that you are going to get, or your level of preparedness is going to matter. That is going to be significant. That is going to become important. But if I talk about the preparation and strategies, they are more or less going to be the same. So we'll go through a set of slides. We'll try to understand what is the scenario, how it has been in the last 2 to 3 years, what changes have happened, and with the current challenges, how do we see things moving ahead? Okay, I would like to begin by sharing with all of you the thoughts of John Maxwell. Successful and unsuccessful people do not vary greatly in their abilities. All right. What they vary is in their desires to reach their potential. Therefore, students, all of you who are listening to me on this platform, it is very, very important that you must have this inherent desire to reach the potential by utilizing your skills. Okay, when we talk about the overall preparation, and that is where I would like to begin, there are few things that come to my mind immediately. The first point is set a clear goal for yourself. I'm not sure, but I think many of us do not get into the habit or are not in the habit of setting goals for ourselves. So please set a clear goal for yourself. When I say a goal, I mean, can you actually write down what are the 5 or 10 companies that you are looking at? And in those companies, what is the kind of packages that you are aiming for, right? Write down these goals, set a clear goal for yourself. The second point is, it is very important to start early. Let me give you an example. In our university, I'm going to share some examples related to the kind of work that we do in our university. In our university, what we have done is we have identified the skills that are required for a student to be successful in, competitive exams and campus placements. And then these skills have been designed and integrated into the curriculum. So what a student needs to do is, in every semester, a student from every course is not only required to learn the necessary skills, but is also needed to earn credits by getting assessed and passing the examination, right? And where does this start? If I tell you the example of engineering, it starts right from the first semester and goes up to the 6th semester, which is when the students actually start appearing for campus placement. And the same is true when we talk about students from the other graduation streams, sciences, BCA, BSc IT, BCom, BBA, and so on and so forth. So it is very important to start early. Devise a strategy for your success. You must have a strategy. You must have a clear plan as to how you are going to achieve the goals that you set for yourself. So devise a clear strategy. And the most important thing is the 4th point. One must be passionate about what we are trying to do. So setting goals are not enough. You must follow those goals. You must have strategies, as we discussed, and you must follow those goals. You must approach those goals with passion, and that passion has to be backed with massive action. That is when, children, you are going to get the right results. Okay. There are few things that have changed in the last 3 years, and I am sure you would be excited to know about these changes. Let me share them with you. The first point is, there has been an increase in the number of opportunities, right? The number of opportunities, the number of people that companies have been recruiting, that has changed, that has increased substantially in the last 3 years. Your question to me possibly would be, do we see the same trend continuing? My answer is possibly no. My answer is maybe this year we may see a dip because of the challenges, right? But the good thing is, since in the last 3 years, the number of opportunities have increased, the pie has today grown and become really big. Okay. 2016, 2017, students used to look at, a student who was passing out of a college or a university used to look at a package of 3.5 to 4 lakhs. Somebody who had an offer of 5 lakhs was thought to be amongst the top of the class, would have done very well. But today, a large number of students are talking about packages of 5 lakhs, 7 lakhs, 8 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 12 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 17 lakhs, 19 lakhs, and even above 20 lakhs. And these are some of the packages that children have actually achieved in the last 2 to 3 years. That means companies are not only willing to recruit, they are not only looking at increasing the numbers, they are also willing to pay you a higher remuneration, a higher compensation for your improved skills. The third point is very interesting, children. Campus boundaries have started dissolving. Today I no longer have to worry about whether a particular company visits my campus or not. What is the relationship of a particular organization with my university or college? A large number of companies have started recruiting students through All India assessments. So even though a particular company, a big brand might not be visiting my campus, I have the equal opportunity of getting an offer from this organization. And the fourth point, there are a number of job offers that are being given to students through internship, which in turn has made the entire process of summer training or internship very important and equally relevant. These are some of the changes that we have seen in the last 3 years, and these changes have contributed a lot to the improving placement scenario. Okay. When we talk about placement opportunities, there are two things that I would like to focus on. The source of opportunities, where are the opportunities going to come from? And the second part is your preparation. All right. Okay. First, let us talk about the source of opportunities. So you can very well see some points on your screen. The first and foremost important source of placement, campus placement opportunity is your campus itself and the placement process that is organized and conducted by the campuses. Let me tell you, students, the people in the different universities and campus, they put in a lot of effort to get in touch with the companies and bring them to the campus so that you can get a good offer and get into a good organization to begin your career. One more thing I would like to add here, it is, and please listen to this very carefully, it is always important, it is always easy to get a job whilst being within a campus as compared to getting a job outside a campus. This is my personal experience. So please believe me when I am sharing this with you. The second source of opportunity happens to be summer internship, summer training, right? And I would like to tell all of you here that when you go for your summer internship, this is the time when most of us would be going ahead with our summer training, summer internship. Please do the summer internship very seriously, right? Religiously. Companies are constantly looking at people, and if they find a good person, and how they'll assess you during the summer training. They do not have any hesitation in giving you a pre-placement offer, right? So summer internships are a very important source of placement opportunities. As I said in the last slide, a number of companies have started to look at open assessment examination. Companies are also realizing that the kind of effort, the kind of resources, not to talk about the money, the time that is spent in going to the campuses and recruiting students is a huge number, and therefore a lot of companies have started recruiting students through open assessment exams. And children, this is not only happening at the engineering level. This started at the engineering level, but today companies have started extending it to graduates, like streams like BCA, BSc IT, or the sciences for that matter, BBA, BCom, and BA, even BA Honors English. So all these students are eligible to appear for some of these open assessment exams. The fourth point is something which has changed the value of placements, the quality of placements, the packages that are being offered in the last 2 to 3 years. Companies are willing to offer a higher package by assessing you through a competition, competitive coding, as we call it, competitive programming. A number of companies, and I am talking about some of the big names here, a number of companies have also started giving placement offers through training modules. So, what you need to do, they have a set of training modules which they will offer. You need to apply to be a part of the training module. They will teach you, they will train you, they will keep assessing you. And at the end of the assessment, they will have a final test, after which you will be given a chance to go for an HR interview. And once you are successful in the HR interview, you have a final placement offer. You know, I was listening to one of the HRs of a top leading organization, and what he shared, the data that he shared was amazing. He said 35% of the people whom we recruited last year came through, you know, various sources other than a campus placement. So he was saying that 35% of our total recruits happen to be from colleges where we do not usually visit for campus placement. Isn't that amazing? So much of opportunity, so many chances available to a student. All right, and please appreciate when I am telling you placement through training modules, the company not only selects you and gives you a final offer, but it also gives you an opportunity to appear for another test, get yourselves assessed, upgrade, and change your package to a higher level. Very possible. All right. And then we have the assessment portals. A large number of universities and campuses are, you know, getting associated with various assessment portals, like, for example, eLitmus is a test, or CoCubes is an assessment portal, or Aspiring Minds is an assessment portal. So back at Graphic Era, you know, the university provides the students with this opportunity where they can get assessed. And once you get assessed, you get into their database and you automatically become eligible to a number of opportunities which they get because of their connect with companies on the other end of the chain, right? So a number of opportunities, and believe you me, this slide would have been very different had this presentation been happening in the year 2016-17, because a number of these opportunities have got added in the last 2 to 3 years, right? So exciting times for all of us. Okay, the second part, opportunities are available, but the question is, how prepared am I? Or rather, the question is, am I really prepared? So when you look at your preparation, when you look at strategizing your preparation, there are 4 areas that one must focus on. And I presume, I hope that all of us connected on this platform would be well versed. We are talking about aptitude skills, we are talking about domain knowledge, we are talking about technical skills, and we are talking about interview skills. So let me run you through each one of them. Okay, when we talk about aptitude skills, which is the most important, because that also happens to be the first stage of assessment. The aptitude skills for most of the companies, most of the campus placement opportunities and competitive exams can be divided into verbal ability, logical reasoning, and problem solving, which is also popularly known as quantitative aptitude. Okay, when we talk about aptitude skills, there are few points that are going to be very important and equally relevant. When we are discussing campus placement, right, speed of doing the questions is going to be very important. So you will have scenarios where there'll be 20 questions to be completed in 20 minutes, or maybe 16 questions to be done in 20 minutes. So speed of solving is important, but equally important is going to be your understanding of the concepts. Let me tell you the reason. Because if in case the level of the test happens to increase, which one can expect in a challenging situation, right? You can expect the level of the test to go up in a challenging scenario. Then in that case, along with your speed of solving the questions, your conceptual understanding is going to be equally important, right? There are a number of mentors, teachers, trainers whose classes are usually exercise driven because their focus happens to be on the speed of solving. I would like to emphasize here that the speed of solving is important, but equally important is your understanding of the concepts. And I have already shared with you the reason for saying so. There has been, over the years, there has been a shift towards logic-based questions. Even in area like verbal ability, right? Which at one point in time used to be, there used to be a lot of questions from say an area like antonyms, synonyms, which were not based too much on the logic, but that has changed. Now, a lot of questions, reading comprehension, critical reasoning, parajumbles, there is a lot of shift towards logic-based questions, right? Even the questions that you will get from an area like English usage or grammar for that matter happens to be, based on your logical ability, your logical thought process. The third point is you need to have sufficient practice for the various test patterns and type of questions. And here my suggestions would be that you must try to look at one or maybe more than one test series for your practice, right? There is a possibility that your university or your institution might be arranging for a test series, or if that is not the case, you can yourself look for a test series which you can get aligned to for your practice. And the fourth point is very important. Children, when you are preparing for competitive exams, when you are preparing for campus placement, please be associated with a mentor, a teacher, some good books, a study material. They are all going to play a very important role. Particularly the first part, a mentor or a teacher who is going to guide you through, handhold you and take you through the entire process. Very important. All right. Okay. I'm going to talk about a little bit about quantitative aptitude as a specific example, because quantitative aptitude and reasoning is my area of interest. So that is why I'm going to spend some time here. When we talk about quantitative aptitude, you can clearly, divide your preparation into these 5 thoughts. The first thing is, when you look at a problem, are you able to quickly comprehend the problem type? Can you identify which topic is this question from and what type? Let me tell you that when you look at campus placement, or for that matter, many of these competitive exams, and you take up a particular topic, you can clearly identify the type of questions that can be framed in a particular topic. So once understood, it is going to be very useful and beneficial. We have already spoken about the importance of the conceptual understanding of the topic. You need to look at, there are different ways, there are different ways of solving a question. Beautiful approaches to look at and solve different questions. As a student, am I aware of those different methods or not? When we frame a question, when a teacher frames a question, makes a question, we are sure that what are the common mistakes that students are going to commit. And, think about this. If as a student, I get to know what are the common mistakes that I can commit in a problem type, how easy will it be for me to improve my skills? So being aware of the common mistakes, and obviously knowing the best way to solve the question. One must be aware of, there are a number of ways of doing a question, but finally what is going to be important? What is the best way of solving the question? Okay. The second point, the second skill set is domain knowledge. Domain knowledge, children, is going to be very important. It will be tested as a part of your written assessment. It will become important when you go for your for the interviews, right? You must have a good understanding of concepts. And let me tell you, this is something that was shared by many of the HRs of top companies who visited Graphic Era last year for campus placement. They said that, we are expecting our children to know the basics. We do not expect the children to know very hi-fi concepts, right? But we must, we want to see whether the children are conceptually good or not. So please don't think in terms of the hi-fi concepts. You can go to them, provided you are conceptually good in the fundamentals. So good understanding of the concepts. Please emphasize a lot there is a lot of focus on the projects, because the projects and your practical learning through your internships and summer training, they are going to give you an experience which is equivalent to the experience that people get while working. So focus a lot on the projects. You need not do too many projects, but the ones that you do, you must be absolutely sure about what was your role and how did you contribute and how did the project finally shape up. Very important, right? So focus on the projects and emphasis on practical learning and internship. All these are going to be equally important from students from all areas. So if you are a commerce graduate or a management graduate and you are doing an internship, doing a project, please focus on the learning part, because that is going to help you a lot when it comes to getting a good offer. Okay. Something which cannot be avoided, which has become very, very important for all of us, technical skills. And you know what I have done? I have divided the technical skills slide into two parts. One, I am going to talk about the technical skills for the students from computer science, and then we are going to talk about the requirement or the need of technical skills for others. For computer science background, competitive programming in the last 3 years has started providing a large number of higher level opportunities to our children. Okay. When we talk about competitive programming, within competitive programming, what are the skill sets that you need? You need to be good in programming. You need to be good in programming, and along with programming, you would need data structure and algorithms, because that is what you would be using when you get into the various competitions, right? As a student, I will have the freedom to choose the programming language that I want. So, you know, usually companies will give you the option of program coding in C or C++ or Java, or for that matter, any new language, for example, Python. So you will have that freedom to code in the language that you want. But look at point number 4. Children, point number 4 is very important. You know, when we talk about all these competitions, there are two specific parts to your performance. One is going to be understanding the problem and logically solving it. And the second part will be the coding part. Okay. So if you are not able to approach the problem logically and solve it, then it is not possible for you to do the coding. I hope you are appreciating. And that aspect has been given a lot of importance, which we all need to appreciate and focus on. Okay. And when we talk about these opportunities, concepts of quantitative aptitude are extremely important. So, you know, it would be a concept of quantitative aptitude, but it would be required here for you to solve the problem. Let me give you one example, although I wanted to, share more than one, but at least allow me to give you one example. You know, last year, I'm not going to name the company, a very big organization. Last year, in one of the competitive programming contests, a question was asked. There were two numbers given, very large numbers, I think 6-digit numbers or maybe 7-digit numbers, say A and B. And the question was, you had to count how many numbers would be there from A to B, such that within a number, an odd digit will appear even number of times and an even digit will appear odd number of times. So if you allow me, let me repeat the question. A huge, a huge range, a big range, large range, and within that range, you had to find out how many numbers can you count such that within a number, an odd digit should have been, or the number of odd digits should be used even times, the number of even digits should be used odd times. Now, where is the challenge? The challenge is, can you actually run the numbers and do the counting? No. And that is what they are testing you for. So they are testing, can you actually come out with a solution? Because that is what you will be required to do when you get into a job. Now, if you think about this, how do we teach the children to approach such problems? Whenever I get such problems and I do not know how to start, one of the methods suggested is to start thinking at the lower level. Okay, let me give you an example. So let's start from 100. Okay, as an example, let's start from 100. So 100. In 100, 0 is an even digit, appears even times. 1 is an odd digit, appears odd times. So 100 does not qualify. Let's look at 101. In 101, 0 an even digit appears odd times, and 1 an odd digit appears even times. So 101 will qualify. Excellent. What about 102? 102 doesn't. Why? Odd number is appearing odd times and even number is appearing even times. So 102 does not qualify. How about 103? How about 103? 1 and 3 odd digits appearing even times and 0 even digit appearing odd times. So 103 qualifies. Now, if I stop for a minute and think about this, every alternate number is going to qualify as a solution to this problem, right? It will sometimes it will be the odd numbers, sometimes it will be the even numbers, but believe you me, every alternate number is going to qualify. Now, once I get this solution, that is when I can now go to the second step and quickly start coding. So what I am trying to tell you is that, these opportunities are there, they are available. But the question is, am I prepared? And am I aware of how I need to prepare and what are the important things? That is going to be very important. Okay. All right. So technical skills for the students of computer science background. How about technical skills for all others? And the first point here is very important, very interesting for that matter. The point is it important? And if it is important, to what extent? Let me share this with you. When we talk to our students from mechanical engineering and civil engineering background, the thought, the mindset of the student is, sir, I am doing a BTech in mechanical engineering. Why should I learn programming? And why should I, look for a job with a company which is programming oriented? I'm talking to the graduates as well. I'm talking to BCA, BSCIT, MCA. I'm talking to all of you. So my question is, today, in the kind of scenario that we all are in, do you think we all can do without computers? Can we actually do? Or even if we are able to survive, the question is, will we be able to excel? The answer is no, right? So what one needs to do, the first thing one needs to do is change the mindset, right? Let me give you this example. We are talking about artificial intelligence, we are talking about machine learning, we are talking about big data, we are talking about Internet of Things. A mechanical engineer says, sir, I am not connected, I am not talking about these things. Let me give you an example. Today, aren't we, the mechanical engineers, talking about driverless cars? Right? We are talking about a future where companies are, working on driverless cars, which is going to be a reality very soon. So my question is, when you talk about a driverless cars, a mechanical engineer is involved because there is an engine. But how about managing the driving without a driver being present? Isn't it artificial intelligence? Isn't the machine going to learn and improve itself? Isn't it going to be machine learning? So let us not shy away from the opportunity. Let us not close our eyes. Okay. What you need to focus on, even if you are not from computer science background, what you need to focus on is basic programming and logic. The representatives of the company say that we do not expect a mechanical engineer to know as much of programming as a computer science graduate. They understand, they appreciate. What they are looking for is Do you have that logical ability? Do you have that bent of mind? What is your mindset? Are you open to learning or not? And they say that we are good enough to train you and teach you, right? And even after that, suppose I'm very sure, sir, whatever you say, I am not going to, do this. My suggestion to you would be that take a job, get a job with, say, a computer science company. Suppose you are getting a job offer with a computer science company. What is the harm? Take it, and then still look for other opportunities. You think you are going to get another opportunity in a core job? Please go ahead and take it. Who stops you? But at least, a lot of things will change when you have a job in hand, right? Including your mindset and your performance. So look at technical skills in collaboration with your other skills for overall benefit, for your own benefit, for your own good. Okay. The fourth aspect is interview skills. Very important, because that is where I am going to be given my final offer. When we talk about interview skills, children, and friends, we can have an entire session on preparing for the interviews. But there are a few points that are very important and relevant. The first thing is know yourself. Self-introspection is very important. I'm sorry to say this, but many of us do not do well in interviews because I am actually trying to project someone else. I have not done my homework of knowing myself. I have not done that self-introspection. So knowing yourself, doing the self-introspection is beautiful. It is going to help you a lot, and it is going to be very useful. So focus on that. Focus on the basics. I think I told you earlier, the company representative says we are not looking for students to tell us the new technologies. Focus on the basics. Experience of projects and internships are going to be equally important, children. Many times I have this understanding that if I have written a project or an internship detail in my resume, that is going to be good enough. That is not good enough, right? Because you are going to be asked and tested on whatever you have written in your resume. So please don't, get into, say, writing 4 or 5 projects. Write down 4 or 5 projects, provided you are equally adept and good in justifying your role, your contribution in all of them. Then please do. Otherwise, it is good enough to write 1 or 2 projects so that you can talk about them during the interview. The fourth point is very important. You must have examples to support your answers. And when we get into practice interviews, mock interviews with children, and when we ask them questions like, what is your strength, what is your weakness, significant achievement, they'll have answers to those. But when we ask them the next question, please substantiate your answer by giving an example that has happened in your life. They would say, so far it has not yet happened. So my question to you is, if it has not yet happened, how is it a significant achievement or maybe a difficult situation that you have faced in your life, right? So please have clear examples to support your answers. When we have examples to support our answers, they not only validate what we are saying, but they strengthen our thoughts in front of the evaluator. And have a balanced resume. When I say a balanced resume, sometimes we see students having resumes that are too much technical, less of people skills or personality skills for that matter, or vice versa, right? So the technical skills are missing, projects are missing, but the other skills are there. Your resume, please try to have a balanced resume. And you still have the opportunity, because you will be beginning your projects, internship. Focus, do well, know that what is the end objective of doing the summer internship, the summer training, or the projects. You know that you will be using them in your resume, and therefore you will be able to perform accordingly. Okay. What are the challenges ahead? The challenges ahead are, we may see a dip in the number of opportunities. We may, right? But the kind of indications that we are getting from the corporate, from the various industries, there's not going to be too much of an effect, because even if there is a drop, there's going to be an increase in the IT services domain, right? But what is important is you need to be well prepared and alert. This is something I would like to use this forum to share with my students who are connected here, all these students. You know, many a times the students are not alert to the various opportunities. The feeling that I have is, if I have got into a campus, if I have got into a college or a university, then getting a placement is something that I am automatically entitled to. No, please don't have that thought process. You need to be well prepared and you need to be alert. Okay. The new scenario is not going to be the survival of the fittest. It is going to be the survival of the opportunist. Don't take this word don't take its negative connotation. We are not talking about opportunist in that negative sense, right? We are talking about opportunist in terms of a person who is well prepared, right? Okay. Formulate your strategy in line with your SWOT. Please do your SWOT. We talked about having a strategy right in the beginning. Have that strategy in line with your SWOT, right? If there are certain areas which you are not good at, practice those areas. Try to improve on those areas as much as you can outside the assessment. But once you are within the assessment, please have a clear understanding. What are my strengths and weaknesses? Identify the gaps in skill sets and take corrective action accordingly, right? Identify the gaps in skill sets. Whatever gaps are there, you can identify them and you need to take corrective action for the same. Towards the end, I would like to close by saying, if you wish to be the best, you have to be prepared to take the first step. You know, many a times when I am a part of a group, I am a part of a class, I wait for others. I'm waiting for others to take the first step. You know, so my thought process is, oh, my friends are not doing it. Why should I do it? Please don't have that attitude, right? You have to be prepared to take the first step. And what should be the attitude? Whatever it takes. If you want to be successful, you have to give it your everything. You have to give it everything that you have got. All right. I think my time is almost over, almost 40 minutes, 45 minutes. So thank you so much. All right. So this slide talks about the books, the material. And now, thank you so much. Back to Manish.
Thank you, sir, for the session. And now we're opening our floors for the question and answers round, and the sir will answer them. Before we start the question and answers round, we have some important information to share with all of you. So now my request Archana to share that information.
A very good evening to all of you. Just allow me a minute. I'll just share my screen. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it's visible.
Yes, thank you so much. So now that we had a very detailed session from Anand sir about preparing for the campus recruitment process, we also thought we'll take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about what we do at Wiley and some of the services that we offer in terms of helping students prepare. So first things first, I'm sure you all know that Wiley has a whole repository of books to help students prepare for any aspect of the campus recruitment process, right from the aptitude, the quantitative ability, reasoning ability, to even the technical skills. But we all know that content is one part of it, but there's also training or how to prepare for these things. So here I'd like to introduce you to Wiley Next, which is the employability training division of Wiley. And as you know about the brand Wiley, which is 210 years old. And what many of you may not know is that Wiley also actively helps learners with learning programs. So we have 33 million learners worldwide across the globe, where we also train them, teach them, and help them build their employability. So in terms of building employability, I think Sir has already given a very clear session where he's talked about multiple skills that one needs to know. So obviously you have the technical skills, and today we also talk about what is the 21st century skills. That apart, there is aptitude, which is the quants, reasoning, and the verbal ability. Besides preparing for one's interview, getting the resume in order, being prepared in terms of what questions could be asked in the interviews. So one part of it is the future focused technical skills. So at Wiley Next, we do a lot of training programs. So we work with various campuses across the country. We work with colleges, we work with students in delivering training programs in technical skills. So these are just, this is just a quick glance of some of the areas that we cover in our training. So right from the basics of programming, we have courses starting from the introduction to programming or the basics of programming to Java, .NET, C, C++, Python, and we go on to even the advanced skills of data sciences, data analytics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, anything and everything that would help a student in college secure a job. So we work with multiple colleges where we are training students on these skills that would help them get their first job. Now, one part of it is the technical skills, and then we have the other component, which is the aptitude and the interview preparation. So aptitude, as you all know, there are 4 parts to it. You have the quants, reasoning, verbal ability, as well as the interview preparation. Now, in a COVID world, we all know that traditional learning cannot happen anymore where an instructor comes to the class. Right now, we do not know when the colleges are going to reopen and when that kind of training can come back in action. So at Wiley Next, we're also offering training specific for COVID time. So we are working with multiple universities. For example, as we speak, we're doing a training program at Shiv Nadar University and multiple other universities where we are training the students on aptitude. And we are doing this fully online, where we have our Wiley Next certified trainers who are handling the classes live for the students. So we use platforms like Zoom, Teams, various other, and the Wiley Next learning platform, of course. And that is how we're delivering the training during the COVID times. And it is, we also have the option of doing a hybrid model where we initially start off the training online. And once normalcy restores and once the campuses are, reopening, we can also transition into in-person training where the trainer would teach the students face-to-face in the college like it was being done earlier. So how would we go about the training? Now, aptitude, as you all know, is quite simple. 1, it's about getting the answer right. And 2, it's also a question of how quickly you're able to get the answer. So there is only a finite amount of time available for a student to crack the aptitude test. So it's very important that we not just teach the students on how to get the right answer, but also teach them how to get the right answer in the shortest possible time. Because unlike a university exam, there are no step marks or, it's not about getting it partially right. You either get the answer right or you get it wrong. So you get the full marks or you don't get any marks at all. So the focus here when we do the aptitude training is about enhancing the accuracy as well as the speed, because we want the students to be able to do the maximum questions within the given time. And we have structured it in such a way that we have a pre-assessment at the start. And I see that somebody raised their hand. Maybe we could take this as part of the Q&A if you can just hold your questions, please. So what we typically do is we start off with a pre-assessment to first gauge where the students stand. And once we have a sense of the students' level, we segregate them into groups. So different batches based on capabilities, and then we do the level-based training. And obviously, some students learn fast and there are some who need some more time to learn. So accordingly, the categorization is done. And what's most important is, of course, Wiley has enough and more content available. We have a huge repository, global authors who have written this content. So that's one part of it. But content aside, content is going to be the base. But the next step is about how we do the training in the classroom. And that is where the Wiley trainers come into the picture. So just to give you a sense of how quality conscious we are, not everybody can become a trainer with Wiley. So in fact, just about 20% of the people who go through the process finally make the cut to be a Wiley certified trainer. So that's the kind of rigor that goes into choosing our trainers. And what's also important is at the end of the day, it's not about a student learning a topic in quantitative aptitude. So it's not about how good am I in number theory or how good am I in time, speed, and distance, but it's actually being able to solve questions and also be exposed to questions that are asked by the top recruiters or the companies. So we also have specific sections on company specific questions. So the entire curriculum is focused on picking and choosing questions that are aligned to what the companies are asking. And this trend changes year on year. So if the question paper of last year will no longer be relevant this year, yes, the topics are the same. So it's good to be conceptually strong, but we also believe in adding an extra layer where we expose students to the frequently asked questions, the most popular questions by the top recruiters. So every college has their own day one companies, day two companies, their top recruiters. So we typically work on building a program that focuses on conceptually strengthening their knowledge as well as exposing them to optimum number of questions by the recruiters who come to that particular campus. And like I already said, speed is of the essence here. So every part of the program would focus on shortcuts, time-saving techniques, all of that for the questions where students are exposed to multiple methodologies. So there's no one right way of getting the answer. Different tricks and techniques work for different students. So we expose them to as many tricks and techniques as possible, so they're able to apply what works easily with them. And we also do something called, to help students prepare for the interview process. Yes, we work with students to get their resumes right from the templates, what to put, what not to put, because students sometimes can be quite enthusiastic and put a lot of information that may not be required or even miss out something that's quite crucial. So we help students build their resume and we also prepare them for the interviews. Typically, there are the frequently asked questions in interviews, but we've also gone one level further where we have classified these questions as level 1 questions, level 2 questions, level 3 questions. So students are prepared to answer questions of different levels. And in COVID times, we also work with students, helping them tackle video interviews, because we find that all this while, while students have gotten very familiar with online tests, students are not that familiar with the video interview process. So that's another section that we're building for the current times. And at the end of it, of course, you get a Wiley India certificate as well for participating in this. So one part is the training, and equally important, we believe, is giving abundant opportunity for the students to practice. So that is where we have the Wiley India aptitude test platform as well. So students are given access to the platform. So typically, if the training is structured, for example, for a 10-day duration, we cover a certain topic during that particular day, and then students have tests on those particular topics in the evening. And then there's a whole question bank available for the students, so they can go online on the platform and take as many tests as they want. So they constantly practice and get better, because aptitude is something, yes, we learn the concepts, we learn the theory, but what's important is that you practice with as many variety of questions as possible, so that any and every question that they encounter, they're able to tackle. So here's just a quick glimpse of the kind of courses that we have. So we do even micro courses like 3 to 6 days duration. So these could be short-term workshops that we might cover. So for example, for some colleges, we just do a speed maths workshop, or we do a workshop on just shortcuts, tricks and techniques. And we have mid-range courses anywhere between 7 to 15 days, where we might cover one part alone, or we do the entire gamut of aptitude and soft skills. And we have the comprehensive courses that are built into the curriculum, where it can have a very layered approach, where we do the basics in the initial, say the second and third year, we work on the basics, and then we graduate into the more difficult topics, and ultimately help the students take up the campus recruitment tests in the final semester. So this is it from my side. So I just quickly wanted to tell you that Wiley not just has world-class content, but we also offer a lot of training programs for colleges. So in case you would want to look at a solution for your college, either for the COVID times, which is fully online, or an instructor-led program that happens face-to-face, you can let us know and we'd be happy to help you. Over to you, Manish, for the questions.
Yeah. So Archana, we have just a question for these courses. Only pricing for these courses?
Okay, the pricing for these courses really depends on the number of students in the particular college, and also the duration that we're looking at. I would be happy to work with you on these courses. So if you have any inquiries, you can mail to vd@wiley.com, V for victory, D for Delhi @wiley.com, and we'll respond to you on the courses, because it really depends on what we are covering, how complex or simple the course is going to be.
Thanks, Archana. So we already see a couple of questions for the Anand sir. So
Yes.
Anand sir, we have a first question. What are the current opportunities in the current situation for mechanical engineering students?
Okay, good question, a very relevant question, because you know, as far as the opportunities are concerned, in the last 2 to 3 years, we are not seeing as many opportunities for a student from mechanical engineering background as compared to computer science. But having said that, let me share with you that there are opportunities available, but as I was sharing, many times we are not prepared for those opportunities. We have a number of examples where companies have come forward with higher packages to recruit mechanical engineering students. See, there are two things. The companies that come to recruit mechanical engineering graduates might not look to recruit in large numbers, but there are definitely companies which are recruiting from the campuses. That is where we have to ensure that we are prepared. So if an opportunity is there and it is to be taken, I should ensure that I am prepared and ready to take up that opportunity. Having said that, I would once again share with all the students of mechanical engineering background that a little addition of understanding of computer programming is going to help you widen that base of the opportunities that you are going to look at.
Sir, we have another question from Fatima. And she wants to know, so you are saying about balanced resume. So balanced resume needs how many pages? What are the skills needed to be updated for all?
Okay, so that's a good question. You said Fatima.
Yes.
Okay, so Fatima, my response would be ideally 2 pages should be good enough for a student who is going to complete his or her graduation. Sometimes there are situations where the organization is going to give you their own resume template form to be filled, wherein you have to give answers to certain questions that they are asking. There can also be a situation where the situation demands that it has to be a single page resume. But other than that, I think your resume should ideally be 2 pages. And when I say balanced, I think I already spoke about this. It should be a mix of your technical skills, what are you good at, the projects, your summer training, and your personality part, wherein you talk about your achievements, you talk about your roles and responsibilities, your strengths. So that part, that is what I meant by a balanced resume.
So sir, next question is from Shazia. So it's related to resume only. Sir, please tell how should we prepare our resume? What is the main thing to be remembered?
Okay, I don't know whether we'll have time to look at all those aspects, but Shazia, to answer your question, the first thing that you need to do is do that self-introspection. As I said, please don't take it otherwise, but the challenge with many people who are appearing for interviews is they do not know about themselves. So do that self-introspection. When you do that self-introspection, you are going to come out with a lot of answers to the things that you need to include in your resume. Now, if I were to quickly take you through, then maybe the things to be included will be your career objective. Then, in case you have started working, then your work experience part, your educational qualification. After that, what technical domain, what projects you are good at. So the subjects that you are good at, I'm sorry. Then the projects that you have done, summer training, internships, right? After that, extracurricular component, that means your achievements, roles and responsibilities, your strengths, and then your personal data, whatever you would want to include.
So, sir,
But I'm sorry to interrupt, Manish. But children, this is where your teacher or mentor is going to play a very important role. Okay, and I emphasized on this. If you have an opportunity to be connected with a teacher, let me share with you, back in the university in Graphic Era, we have a wonderful team of people who are putting their efforts together and hand-holding students, guiding them, taking them, giving them the proper guidance, taking them through the right path. So if you have access to a teacher or a mentor, that is the best thing that can happen to you.
So sir, we have another question from Priyanka. How to prepare for aptitude, because the syllabus is so much big and there are a lot of examples. How to cover all topics?
See, Priyanka, preparing for aptitude is, it's a one-time job. You will have to do it once. Okay, it is not difficult. Keep your goal in front of you, and if you want to achieve that goal, then you need to prepare for all the topics. But let me tell you, it is a job that you have to do once, but do it thoroughly. Let me give you this example. There are students who pass out from the university, who are working in the industry, and 2 years later, 3 years later, when they meet us, they say that I'm still using those concepts that I learned in the classroom 3 years back, right? So learning it is a one-time task which you have to do, right? If you wish to fulfill your dreams, goals, you have to do it. You have to put in the efforts, and then you have to practice. Practice is obviously a very important component.
So sir, there's also a follow-up question from Priyanka only. How to prepare for the interview like GD and PI?
See, Priyanka, for both GD as well as PI, you must have a good understanding of the concept. So what is a group discussion? What are the things that are evaluated? What are the do's and don'ts that you have to learn? Now, there is a possibility that you learn it on the internet, lots of material available. You can learn it in the classroom. You can learn it using some other mode, but you need to learn the concept. When it comes to practicing for a group discussion, you definitely need a group, right? So without a group, you cannot practice a group discussion. So you need to be a part of a group wherever possible. My suggestion is, you can form your own groups in the college or the university, get together people who have a common goal, right? And then take up different topics and discuss on them. As far as practicing for an interview is concerned, once you know the concept, once you know how to prepare, once you have your resume ready, then approach your teachers and request them that, sir or ma'am, I wish to know how good am I as far as my preparation is concerned. So can you take a mock interview? Your teachers will be very happy to oblige you, and they'll help you.
So we have the next question for Archana. Archana, Vinod wants to know, do we get placement assistance if we take Wiley Next aptitude program?
Okay. Yes, Manish. I mean, we do provide placement assistance. So just to give an idea here, Wiley Next is partnered with multiple corporates. So at the global level as well as in India. So we have corporations like Tech Mahindra, UST Global, Capgemini on one side, and we also have various global banks like Morgan Stanley, Bank of America, and Deutsche Bank, multiple organizations, I would say, who are our recruitment partners. So typically what we do is when we do a training program in a college, we would also take up the database of the students who attended the training, and students who fare well, who get good marks, who show seriousness in the training, they are also offered these opportunities when they come our way. Just to give an example, everybody is talking about how in COVID times, recruitment has virtually come to a standstill and hiring is not happening. But one case in point is even last month, we did a massive hiring exercise where almost 10,000 students who are Wiley Next candidates, they were put through an assessment, and the ones who got shortlisted They went through our training programs for multiple global banks. So we did placements to Morgan Stanley, to Bank of America, and various other banks just last month. So yes, anybody who takes up the Wiley training program, they would go into our database of students, and any placement opportunities that come our way with our corporate partners, they would have an opportunity to participate in that.
So Anand sir, we have another question for you. What are the short-term courses which I can pursue with my ongoing BBA marketing to make a balanced resume? It's been asked by Nilanjan.
Which course you said, Manish?
BBA course.
BBA. Okay. Who has asked this question?
Nilanjan.
Nilanjan, see, if I were to share with you what are the short-term courses, I would suggest that if you think you are good in your concepts, right? So my first suggestion to you would be you work on your concept and make sure that you are conceptually good. To add on to your skills, and since you are doing your BBA in marketing, one thing that I would like to suggest to almost all the students is, if you are not from the engineering background, you would always do well to learn Excel. Okay, Excel and its advanced version is something that is very much valued in the industry. And since it is valued in the industry, it is valued during the placement process also. There are a number of companies, let me share with you, there are a number of companies who, particularly from the finance stream, who take a specific, test and assessment on Excel module to understand your skills. So you can do that. I don't know whether you are aware of this or not, but Salesforce is another, training module that you can look at to add on to whatever you are learning. But having said that, Nilanjan, we need to be absolutely thorough and clear with our concepts.
So sir, we have the last question from Sneha. Is preparing aptitude common for both people who are aiming to get job as well as to pursue higher studies for engineers?
Is it important for job as well as for higher studies?
Yes, sir. It is
Okay.
common.
Yes, Neha, if you look at most of the competitive exams, because that is what you are now asking me about. If you look at most of the competitive exams, aptitude is a definite component of all the exams, right? Be it an exam which is for MTech like GATE, or say the common admission test of the IIMs, or if you are planning to go abroad, take up the GRE or the GMAT, aptitude is a definite component everywhere. Having said that, your preparation will depend on what are you, aiming for. So if your objective is to clear the GATE examination, then your preparation for aptitude has to be different, different level. If you want to get into the IIMs by qualifying the common admission test, your aptitude preparation has to be entirely different. For GRE, GMAT, the preparation will be different, right? So depends. Yes, to answer the question, aptitude is essential. I don't recollect any exam as of now. Yes, maybe civil services, but even the civil services has got a component where they are testing you for your aptitude, right? So I don't see any exam where aptitude is not going to be asked or important, but your preparation will vary according to the exam that you are targeting.
So we have already extended a lot of time for the webinar, and thank you, sir, for giving your time for the webinar and sharing the best knowledge. We are launching our poll now. Do answer that. So you're able to see a poll on the screen.
Yes,
Do
Manish,
answer
I will be, our objective as teachers is always to help students. That is a primary objective that we have as teachers. So if there are students who have any specific queries, they can get in touch with me, and I'll be very happy to share my thoughts and views, provided It will help them perform better.
So thanks, sir, for giving out your valuable time and sharing the best knowledge once again. Thanks, sir, for joining in today.
Thank you so much, Manish. Thank you so much, Manish. Thank you to everybody who connected on this platform. Hopefully the session had something for you to learn from, because that was the primary objective of having this session.
Thanks everyone for joining in today. Before you exit, do poll in. So still many people are left. Thanks everyone. And please join in for our next webinar.